Hey, hello chaosdachamp viewers. We're back with more Fallout, what's become known as the Fallout Rants, where I babble on about stuff that's annoying me. Now today I plan to not actually rant but be positive, but people bug me and annoy me and force me to be negative again.
What did you want?
And the particular scum that are bugging me this time is
Then he should watch his back.
on the Pagan Min video, the first part of the Far Cry Let's Play. I obviously slagged off the overacting, which is awesome. Well said. Overacting is fakery. It's fake. It's bad acting. People don't act like that in real life. Even maniacs. It doesn't happen ever. And so I was just slagging off that aspect of the game. But I wasn't slagging off anything else. I think Far Cry is a pretty good game. It's good fun. It's basically Far Cry 3 again. So if you were bored of that, I wouldn't recommend it. But other than that, it's alright. But just because I said this one negative thing, all these dickheads who are suddenly coming across the video now are going on and on about how negative I am and why am I hating on the game. It's like, what are you talking about? You're not even listening to what I'm saying. And what annoys me about this is this culture we have now where you can't be negative ever. People don't want to hear anything except Billy #positivity, which is funny because Billy hashtag is hated too by you know, people on Machinima. They don't get it. They thought that character was actually for real. They didn't even see that it was so over the top. It must be taking the piss, because we're dealing with really low IQs here, I'm afraid. And if you want some proof that I was right too about the overacting being shit acting, I'm going to put a link below the video of the great Robert De Niro talking about how great acting is doing nothing and how great actors don't do really anything in a scene. And it's that simplicity and, you know, realism that makes a great actor. You know, acting like this theatrical, over the top, you know, overly gestury guy is horrendous acting. It sucks. It sucks real bad. And I'll put a link to Michael Caine talking about the same thing in a big actors workshop where he was teaching actors about movie acting and how it's very subtle and not overly theatrical. So if you're not going to listen to me, listen to two of the great actors of all time and see sense, see reason. I don't make these claims as some idiot. I've made enough films, short films and a feature film. Met enough people in the business to know a bit about what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't.
Now, some people said it's only a game. Who cares if the acting sucks? Well, yeah, it was just annoying me, that was all. His character was pissing me off, so, you know, when he wasn't on screen, I wasn't talking about it. But anyway, it just annoys me that you can't say what you think anymore now. The positivity I wanted to bring to this video was talking about Dragon's Dogma. I'm really liking Dragon's Dogma right now. You'll notice there's been a lot of videos on it. That's because I'm kind of addicted to it currently. I'd say I'm actually having more fun on it than I ever had on Skyrim, for example. I think it's better than Skyrim. It's not better in every way. Its graphics are not particularly good.
It can be inconvenient to
and I know it's people say it's old, well it's newer than Skyrim, and the graphics are a hell of a lot worse than that. And it's a smaller game, the map's not as big. And it's got less variety of enemies, not that Skyrim had many either. But the combat system is stellar, it's really fun, and you can change your class at any point, and that keeps it fresh. And the pawn system's really cool too. It's really in depth and having to play with all these other people's creations at random, and the AI is pretty good on them. People kept saying, oh, they talk too much, but it's kind of humorous. It doesn't bother me. So yeah, I'd recommend that game. I missed out on it when it came out because that's when the channel first sort of took off, and I was signing up with Machinima and making the battle vid, so I was so caught up in all of that. I wasn't even paying attention to what games were coming out. But it still holds up, it's good fun. I got it on the 360. the Dark Arisen version. It's only about 20 quid on Xbox Live. Rad recommend it today. And here we are in Fallout. I'm off to the Dead Money DLC here. This is not a live commentary. This was recorded ages ago now, when I was addicted to playing this game. I didn't care for the Dead Money DLC, to be fair. I thought it was a bit... It didn't feel like Fallout to me. It felt a bit weird. I can see why some people would like it, but I didn't dig it. But Dragon's Dogma is probably the most fun I've had on an RPG since New Vegas, probably. It's really good fun. I hope Capcom make a fucking sequel, put some real money behind it, fix some of the niggles with it. And I think it could be one of the best fantasy games ever, even though I do think its fantasy is quite dull. Dragons and skeletons and lizard men, it's not really original stuff, but you know, it's just a shame that what's happened to the Japanese. They used to make such awesome games that didn't have any problems. Now they're sort of, you know, I'd never normally say an American company like Bethesda have made better graphics than Capcom. That used to be unheard of once. I don't know what the Japanese are playing at. They've just gone shit. Because even though Dragon's Dogma is good, it could be a million times better than it is. So let's just hope they see a vision for the sequel. The other bit of positivity I was going to talk about was just before Christmas I was watching Red River, which is an old western from 1948, I think it came out, starring good old John Wayne and Montgomery Clift. And I hadn't seen it before, and I wasn't really even watching it. I was doing TJ Laser, I was writing the new episode. But I was suddenly thinking, this is really good. And I used to hate westerns. I grew up with westerns because my dad liked them. I never got into them. So when people say things like, oh, you like certain movies because you grew up with them, well, that's bullshit, because I grew up with westerns. My dad used to watch them all the fucking time. He loved Clint Eastwood. He loved the 80s Clint Eastwood westerns. And I didn't care for them at all. I just didn't like westerns. So when I decided to study film in my late teens, I was obviously watching loads of interviews with Scorsese and the like, and they were talking about the great westerns of John Ford and Howard Hawks. And I went back and watched them, like The Searchers and things, and High Noon and stuff, and I just didn't like them. I appreciated them for being great technical works, and I could see how they influential they were and all of that, but because it was a western, I was bored. But suddenly, as I've grown up, I'm suddenly appreciating the western, so I kind of taped Red River when it was repeated on TiVo, and I watched it yesterday, and it was fucking great. Really entertaining, great stuff. It was the colorized version. It was shot in black and white, but they colorized it, and I don't think westerns should be shot in black and white. The West is too beautiful to be, you know, desaturated like that. We want to see colors. And it was great. It was basically Mutiny on the Bounty in the West. But it was a really interesting film because Wayne was kind of the hero, but he also, to spoil it for anybody, kind of turns a bit nuts. Montgomery Clift has to turn on him. So it's sort of two characters who you like against each other. So it's tense because whoever wins, you're going to be upset. The other one possibly dies. It was only ruined a bit by the badly written women parts in it. There were two women in it that sucked. The writing wasn't very good. Because probably some movie exec of the time was going, hey, there's no women in this picture. Get some women in there. And they just wrote a rubbish part real quick and ruined it. Because it almost ruins the end. It kind of does ruin the ending, one of the women. But, great movie. And I was thinking, you know, when I was a teenager, I was kind of a moron, even though I was studying film and I was wanting to appreciate great films. I was watching old films. I couldn't really get into them because I was young, and when you're a teenager, you're kind of an idiot. And I'm not talking about teens today, I'm talking about teens full stop. I mean, there's some teenagers who are rarities, who are smart, but they're pretty rare. And I'm talking about myself too, before people think I'm slagging off teenagers. I was a fucking moron. I used to watch like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and thought they were boring because I was a teen. Now I have two of my favourite films. I watch them all the time. When you grow up, you do get smarter and your taste gets better. Some of these idiots I'm arguing with on the web, I keep forgetting because it's just text. You think you're arguing with someone of similar intellect. If you could see them in person and saw it was just a child, you'd just be laughing, wouldn't you? You wouldn't even be talking to them. That's the problem with the internet. You don't know who the fuck you're talking to. You end up arguing with people who are like, you know, brain dead kids. It's like, I don't give a fuck what a kid thinks. When he grows up, he won't think the same way anyway. So, I was also watching an old interviews with John Ford, who directed The Searchers and stuff. It was Howard Hawks who directed Red River. And he is not half a grouchy bastard. Makes me look like, you know, like Billy Hashtag, basically. But it was that kind of, he was brutally honest. If he hated something or somebody, he was just saying it in the interview. He didn't give a fuck. And I saw like an also, Oliver Reed interview in the 70s on a major talk show, and he was just being dead honest and admitting his alcohol problems and his womanizing and slagging off movies he didn't like, and nobody was bothered. It was the way it was back then. People were honest. There wasn't this political correctness that everybody's got to be positive and kiss ass. People said whatever the fuck they wanted, and I loved it. I wish we could go back to that. This political correctness is pissing me off. Criticism is good. It helps people improve, you know. When I get in the film business properly and hopefully make another movie, I don't want people just telling me it's great when deep down they think it's a load of shit. How am I going to grow as a filmmaker? Criticism's not really good if it's not constructive. But if it's constructive, it's all good. It needs to be there, really. And this culture of Billy Hashtag is just sickening, really. It's gotta go. It's pure evil. It's a bit like this whole Sony hack that happened, and people were reading these emails and saw some producer hating on Angelina Jolie for being egotistical, and everyone couldn't believe it. It's like, you think people in Hollywood are all nice like they are in interviews and stuff? No, there's all kinds of backstabbing and dodgy stuff that goes on. I mean, I've only been in the film game a little bit, and I've known some people that have met big celebrities, and I know some crazy stories that don't make people seem very nice, some of them, you know. I'm not going to name any names because obviously that's not being honest, that's private stuff, but believe me, there's dodgy characters in all walks of life, you know. And people who are always positive all the time, as I've said many times, is a lie. You know, these top YouTubers who are always kissing some game's ass, they get paid to do that, you know. The game companies use them as advertising, you know, now. They don't do it with me because I'm not big enough. That's how you know you're getting brutal truth. And that's what you need. Because, you know, there's some games recently that got ridiculously high scores that sucked ass, and we were lied to, and you went and bought the game, wasted your money because somebody pretended positive shit and it was bullshit. You know, this is where the internet, YouTube is quite good because some people do tell the truth on there. You get more honest reviews maybe than some big website that's possibly been paid off. So look for negativity in your life. I want more of it myself, because you will love it. But a film just came out. I saw a trailer called Birdman with Michael Keaton, and that actually looks good. I'm actually interested to see it. It looks interesting and unpredictable. I don't know if it will be any good, but it looks good at least. And again, before people think it's just me being negative and hating on the film industry for no reason, I don't want to hate films. I want to like them. It's better for me as a filmmaker to have films that inspire you, not make you want to kill yourself because they all suck. And it's not just me that thinks this. Tarantino was interviewed in Cannes at the start of the year because it was the 20th anniversary of Pulp Fiction, and they asked him what he thought of the modern film industry, and he was trying to be nice about it. He basically, his way of slagging it off was, he said, Him and his friends got together through emails, film buddies of his. He didn't say who they were, but we can assume they were probably big names. And they emailed back and forth of who they thought working today as a director was still making exciting cinema. And they all of them, they could only pick 2 people. David Fincher and Richard Linklater. Richard Linklater, I've only ever seen one of his films. He directed Dazed and Confused, which is, I think, the best movie about teen partying ever made. It's obviously influenced by American Graffiti and Fast Times and Ridgemont High, but I kind of prefer it to those 2 films. I love that movie. If you like films about... Reminds me of my teen years, that movie. Watch it. Dazed and Confused. 93 it came out. Really good movie. It's set in the 70s, but it's really good. But that's it. They could only pick 2 fucking directors working today they thought were doing exciting films. And when you think of the 70s, the great names of directors at the time, you had Spielberg, Scorsese, De Palma, Polanski, Lynch, Carpenter, Lucas. You know, this is a stellar group of guys. Probably more I'm forgetting as well. And then today, 2 people was all I could mention.
Even if you aren't my intended guest.
Problem with the film industry today is it's run by big companies, big corporations, and they don't give a shit about art. They just care about making money, and they don't give a shit if the film's awful, as long as they can fool people into watching it. And that's not an industry anybody wants deep down.
Why, we may as well be kin.
Well, I'm glad that I've seemed to rediscovered my love of westerns. I'm going to go watch all of the old classics that I've seen before but didn't appreciate because I thought they were boring. Now I'm kind of excited as I've got older, I've got wiser. And you will too out there who are disagreeing with me. If you're a teen and you're disagreeing with me, know that you'll get smarter. That sounds condescending and offensive right now, and it would to me as a teen, but trust me, it happens to everybody. So you think you're going to be any different? You're the one teen who's now smart and not going to get smart? Oh, don't be stupid.
The one humans use.
See the light.
To come out of the cave
So,
to protect
yeah, I hope you guys had a great Christmas and you're about to have a great New Year. And the new TJ laser, I'm working on it. It could end up being 2 parts now because it's really long. It probably won't be out in time for New Year like I hoped. It's taking me too long to do, but I'm working on it. So, thanks again to the patrons for keeping the channel alive. It's the best Christmas present I could have. And thanks for watching. I'll see you later.